Baisha Village, located in the Yuen Long district of Santin, Hong Kong, is a modest village neither too big nor too small, and one of the 18 rural townships of Yuen Long. Deep inside the village stands a tiny house less than 215.28 square feet in area. Long abandoned, the structure is now surrounded by wild, overgrown vegetation. Scattered at its entrance are remnants of burned incense wax drippings from old candles and faded joss paper. On its gray wooden door, a yellowed talisman remains pasted, traditionally used to guide spirits of the dead toward offerings left for them in the afterlife. Most outsiders don't realize that since 2003, the residents of Baisha Village have strictly forbidden children from entering this small house. Every month, a few villagers still gather at the doorway to burn incense and pray. Occasionally, a Taoist priest is invited to perform a purification ritual. Local rumors persist of ghostly children seen playing within the house at night, and from time to time one might hear the distant sound of crying. The villagers believe the house is haunted by the lingering spirits of 2 young girls. Today I'm going to share with you a case that involves Southeast Asian black magic. But first, let's turn back the clock to December 4th, 2002, and follow the timeline of the events that unfolded. December 4th, 2002, Wednesday night. That evening, police in Yuen Long, Hong Kong received an urgent report. A man named Chen had arrived at the police station desperate and anxious to report his daughter missing after she failed to return home. The missing child was named Chen Yuen. She was 11 years old and a student at Shek Lung Public Secondary School. At around 7:00 p.m. that night, Yuen had told her parents she wanted to go to Yuen Long Plaza to buy shiny trading cards featuring a newly debuted idol group. She promised she'd be back in about half an hour. With that, she ran out the door excited, but by 10:00 p.m. she still hadn't returned. Her family reached out to her classmates and teachers, but no one had seen her. Eventually, they rushed to the police to file a report. Even though only 3 hours had passed, the fact that Yuen was just 11 years old made this case especially urgent. If abduction was involved, every minute would count. The officers on duty immediately escalated the case to the Major Crimes Division, recognizing its severity. Back in the early 2000s, the internet wasn't yet widely used for entertainment. So for young fans, the main way to support their idols was through merchandise posters, CDs, and especially collectible trading cards. At the time, glittery idol cards were all the rage among kids. The place Yuen went to buy her cards was a small shop called Yes Station, located on the 2nd floor of Yuen Long Plaza. From Shofu Road, where little Chen Yuen lived, it would typically take no more than 10 minutes to walk to Yuen Long Plaza. Even accounting for the round trip and time spent shopping for cards, she should have been home within an hour. According to her parents and teachers, Yuen was a well-behaved child. She never lied and shared a strong emotional bond with her family. Because of this, the likelihood of her running away from home was considered extremely low. Investigators reviewed the security footage from Yuen Long Plaza and found that at approximately 7:30 p.m. on the night of her disappearance, Yuen appeared on camera at the Yes Station store on the 2nd floor. She bought several glittery idol cards and picked up a few school supplies as well. Then she exited the building using the public staircase. Police traced her possible route after she left the mall, but no other surveillance cameras captured her after that point. She seemed to have vanished without a trace the moment she stepped outside. Despite 2 full weeks of continuous searching, authorities were unable to uncover any new leads. It was as if Yuen had simply disappeared into thin air after leaving Yuen Long Plaza. On December 19th, the 15th day after Nakman went missing around 9:00 p.m., just as the Yuen Long police were preparing to film a short video appealing for public help, they received another report. The caller stated that their 10-year-old daughter had not returned home after school that afternoon. The missing girl this time was named Yan Boi-san, a student at Vin Ngim Buddhist Primary School in Yuen Long. Usually Boi-san would return home around 6:00 p.m. But by 9:00 that night, her family still hadn't seen her. With the first case still unresolved, another disappearance just half a month later raised serious alarm. The primary school Yanboi-san attended was only about 1 kilometers away from Yuanlong Plaza. Both missing girls were of similar age, had long black hair, oval-shaped faces, and were wearing red jackets at the time of their disappearance. The similarities strongly suggested that the two cases might be connected. Additionally, considering the consistency in victim profiles, authorities suspected the involvement of a disturbed individual, possibly someone displaying patterns similar to a serial offender. Without swift resolution, the consequences could be severe. Aware of the urgency, the police immediately searched Yuanlang Plaza, where Boy-san often visited, and the surrounding neighborhoods. A wide-scale investigation of surveillance footage finally led them to footage of Boy-san captured on a camera near a bus stop close to her school. The footage showed her walking alongside a middle-aged man with both their backs turned toward the camera boarding a bus. The bus was on Route 39, starting from Phoenix Road close to the Buddhist primary school, and ending at the Anju Corporation bus terminal. The total route stretched 45 kilometers, passing through several stops, including Education Avenue, Ma Dian Road, Tien Liao Village, and Baksa Village. Given the vast area covering 18 towns and countless residences, it was nearly impossible for police to locate clues quickly. What puzzled investigators the most was that according to the footage, Yanboi-san showed no signs of distress. If she had truly been abducted on a crowded bus, a student her age could have cried for help. So who was the middle-aged man with her just when the case seemed to gain traction? It hit another dead end. Within only 15 days, 2 girls had gone missing near a bustling commercial area, triggering widespread panic across Yuanlang. Many parents no longer dared to let their children go out alone. Under mounting pressure, Yuanlang police were forced to work overtime and conduct thorough checks along the entire bus route. However, they never expected the case to take such a bizarre turn. On December 20th, the second day after Yanboi-san went missing, just as the Yuanlang police were fully immersed in the investigation, they received another report. This time, it wasn't about a missing child, but a domestic dispute. A local woman claimed that after her sister ran away from home, her brother-in-law locked himself and their 3 children inside the house and threatened to cause an explosion using a gas tank. The incident took place at a small, somewhat isolated house in the village of Bosha. After receiving a report, police officers were quickly dispatched to the scene. Typically, cases like this stem from a moment of heated emotion and don't often lead to real harm. However, when officers arrived, they quickly realized this situation was far more serious than expected. All the windows of the house had been sealed with wooden planks, and the faint scent of gas lingered in the air. It was clear that the man inside was seriously contemplating blowing up the entire house. Inside the house were 3 children, and the surrounding homes were built very close together. Any mishap could lead to a catastrophic outcome. Within just 15 minutes, nearly the entire police force from Yuanlang was mobilized to Basha. Officers began evacuating nearby residents while securing the perimeter around the house. The woman who called the police identified the man as Tang Yongqiang. He had married her sister, Fan Liu-san, back in 1991. Together, they had 3 children. At first, their family life was relatively normal. But over time, Fan Liu-san began seeing another man and frequently left home. After many failed attempts to convince her to stay, Tang Yongqiang grew consumed by jealousy, eventually leading to this disturbing situation. Crisis negotiators were sent to the scene to try and talk Tang Yongqiang down, pleading with him not to hurt his children. But he showed no concern for them. All he kept asking was, "Has Liu-san arrived yet?" Based on his repetitive questions and the fact that he had sealed every exit, experts on site concluded that he was mentally unstable. It seemed he was trapped in some obsessive spiral. If his wife were to show up now, he might ignite the gas just so she could witness the devastation firsthand. For that reason, under no circumstance could she be allowed near him. As officers tried to calm him and devise a strategy to enter the home, they suddenly heard a metallic banging sound. It was clear Tang Yongqiang was striking the gas tank with a hammer. In an environment saturated with flammable gas, even a tiny spark could trigger an explosion. With the situation rapidly deteriorating, the commanding officer gave the order to move in. Officers broke down the door and rushed inside. But just as they entered, Tang Yongqiang, who had been hiding upstairs, sparked a flame. A massive explosion ripped through the house. The windows shattered from the force, followed by the terrifying cries of children. Thankfully, due to the relatively large space, the blast didn't cause total destruction. The fire department was able to quickly put out the flames. Tang Yongqiang was stunned and apprehended on the spot. His 3 children had been tied to the gas tank with a red rope. Luckily, the tank hadn't fully detonated. Though the children suffered various degrees of burns, none of their injuries appeared to be life-threatening. Tang Yongqiang and his children were taken to the hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, as standard protocol, a team remained at the scene to collect evidence. Nothing appeared out of place on the first floor. But when a firefighter checked the wardrobe in the second-floor bedroom, something wrapped in white fabric rolled out. The white cloth was tied with a red rope identical to the one used on the children. At first, some assumed it was a bundle of blankets, but upon touching it, they sensed something dense inside. Suspecting something was terribly wrong, police carefully unwrapped the fabric and, to their shock, discovered the body of a young girl. Authorities identified the girl as Yan Peishan, the very child who had gone missing just a day earlier. After a full day and night of searching, she had been found in the most tragic and unexpected way. As Tang Yongqiang remained unconscious and unable to be questioned, officers conducted a thorough search of the home. Inside the same wardrobe where Yan Peishan was found, they uncovered a full-body photograph of his wife, Fan Liusan. It had 5 nails driven into it and was marked with the words Fan Liusan, born August 1st, 1980. The image left a chilling impression. Then police made a disturbing discovery near the house, an old well that had recently been sealed with fresh cement. Feeling something was off, they broke through the cement and were met with a chilling sight. Floating inside was the lifeless body of a long-haired girl. DNA tests later confirmed the victim was Chen Nawan, who had been missing for weeks. The autopsy results for both girls revealed a grim truth: they had died from suffocation. One had been strangled, while the other showed signs of having her mouth and nose smothered. There were also other serious injuries, which the police documented as part of their investigation. Recognizing the severity of the case, by the end of December, the Yuanlang Police Department decided to merge all 3 incidents into one major case. A dedicated investigative team was formed, tasked with questioning the wife's relatives, and later interrogating Tang Yongqiang himself after he recovered in the hospital. Through a combination of confessions gathered during intense questioning and a large volume of physical evidence found at the scene, police were finally able to piece together a bizarre and horrifying truth. The suspect, Tang Yongqiang, was born in 1964 in Taiwan to a wealthy family. When he was a child, his family moved to Vietnam, but the war devastated their lives and forced them into poverty. Eventually, they relocated to Hong Kong as refugees. During his time there, Tang had 2 marriages. His first wife had known him since they were teenagers. In 1991, he met Fan Liusan, who was only 11 at the time, and shockingly, all 3 lived under the same roof. Unable to accept this disturbing arrangement, his first wife divorced him. Tang waited until Fan Liusan came of age before officially marrying her. For a while, their marriage seemed stable, but after having 3 children, Tang's income alone was no longer enough to support the family. Fan Liusan, who had limited education, began working as a hostess at a karaoke bar to help pay the bills. Their relationship deteriorated from that point on. Fan had once believed Tang was her entire world, that everything he said was right, but exposure to life outside revealed how deeply he had manipulated her. Young and attractive, she soon found a new boyfriend and demanded a divorce. Tang did everything he could to stop her. He even sought help from social services and caused such a scene that Lam Cheng Yuet-Ngor, the Secretary for Social Welfare at the time, had to personally intervene, but nothing worked. Watching the woman he had controlled for years try to walk away with another man enraged him. That's when he remembered a dark ritual he had once learned in Thailand, a spell called Five Ghosts Revenge. The ritual required a photo of the target with their full name and birth date. 5 nails were hammered into specific points on the wall, while summoning 5 spirits born from extreme resentment. These spirits would attach themselves to the person in the photo, bringing endless misfortune and suffering. But there was one critical rule: the victim had to be blood-related to the sacrificed individuals. Tang had 3 biological children, but needed 2 more relatives. That's when he devised a disturbing plan. He believed that if he had physical contact with 2 additional girls, he could claim them as part of his bloodline, thus completing the ritual's requirement. Tang began scouting potential targets based on his own preferences. He often roamed malls and city streets with his 3 children, disguising himself as a kind-hearted father. Eventually, he found someone who matched what he was looking for. Chen Nawan was wearing a red jacket and had just left a shopping center with a handful of collectible cards. Tang approached her, struck up a conversation, and noticing her interest in the Cookies Idol group, offered her a few cards as a gift. He then told her that he had a full set of cards at home and was happy to give them to her for free. Seeing that the man appeared friendly and had 3 children with him, Chen Nakewan couldn't resist the temptation of the collectible cards and agreed to follow him home. That night, Tang Yongqiang lured her to the 2nd floor where he committed the crime. He then restrained her with a red rope and concealed her body in an old well near his house, sealing it with cement. After completing his first ritual, he began searching for a second victim. It wasn't long before he encountered Yan Peishan playing alone in a nearby park. When he learned her name contained the character Shan, just like his ex-wife, he immediately marked her as his next target. Tang Yongqiang instructed his son to play with her for a few days before inviting her over to play computer games. Eventually, he succeeded in luring her into his house. Unlike the first time, things didn't go smoothly. This time he tried to smother her using a pillow, but misjudged the pressure. Just when he thought she had passed out, Yan Peishan suddenly began struggling in pain. As he carried on with his twisted ritual, he continued to suppress her with the pillow. She drifted in and out of consciousness, fighting for breath until she eventually became completely still. Duong Yingqiang kept her red outer shirt as a memento. He then wrapped her body with white cloth and a red rope before hiding it in a wardrobe. On the following day, December 20th, he turned on the gas and sealed all the doors, intending to wait for his wife to return and complete the ritual. However, he didn't expect the police to arrive so quickly, leading to the initial discovery. This horrifying case shocked all of Hong Kong. The trial began at the Hong Kong High Court on February 10, 2004. Tang Yongqiang and his lawyer made every effort to link his actions to mental illness, claiming he was acting under emotional distress. He presented evidence of suffering from moderate depression and tried to justify his actions. He claimed that his purpose was to perform a 5 ghosts ritual to take revenge on his unfaithful wife. He said he chose children because he didn't want them to suffer long, so he ended their lives before performing the ceremony. He hoped this explanation would win sympathy from the jury. But the prosecution pointed out that from the moment he began preparing for the ritual, his actions were premeditated. He had clearly selected his victims and was fully aware of what he was doing. His crimes were calculated and inexcusable. What bothered Tang Yongqiang the most during the entire process was being accused of having disturbing personal preferences. Every time the topic came up, he reacted violently and insisted that everything he did was for the sake of the ritual, not out of personal interest. One curious detail the police noted when arresting him was his unusual posture. He often hunched forward with his body weight leaning ahead and his head tilted down. Experts noted that this posture is common in people who often look downward, like preschool teachers or warehouse workers. The Tang Yongqiang case is a stark example of human cruelty. He took the lives of 2 innocent children and caused unimaginable pain to their families. The case also raised serious questions about how society evaluates the threat posed by individuals with mental illness. Police later speculated that one factor contributing to Tang Yongqiang's disturbing behavior could be his frequent downward gaze. On February 25, 2004, with a unanimous jury decision, the Hong Kong High Court found Tang Yongqiang guilty of 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. He was sentenced to 2 life terms and an additional 8 years to be served concurrently. After the 5 ghost case, rumors began to spread in the Bai Sha village area. Some claimed to have seen 2 young girls playing in front of the house late at night. Others reported hearing sudden breathing near their ears, or a woman crying and laughing in the dark. No one dared to approach the house again. To prevent the house from being abandoned, the landlord waived 5 years of rent and invited a kind monk to perform a chanting ritual to release lingering spirits. After a full day of prayers, the house finally returned to peace. Interestingly, after the strange occurrences in the village gradually subsided, a prison inmate who had shared a cell with Tang Yongqiang revealed to the media that Tang frequently claimed to see 2 female ghosts inside his cell. The 5 ghosts revenge case remains shrouded in mystery to this day, surrounded by endless rumors. The reasons behind Tang Yongqiang's actions and the supernatural phenomena that followed have yet to be fully explained. That brings us to the end of today's video. See you again in the next episodes. Goodbye.